Hello and welcome, friends, to episode 3 of JoeShine's Let's Play Kerbal Space Program Career Mode. Last time, we managed to get into orbit, and Hudson Kerman became the first Kerbal to orbit the planet. Now we want to try and get him home. Before we do, while we're up here, I wanted to take an opportunity to talk quickly about mods, because one of them does show up right here on our nav ball. I use 4 mods on my game, modifications to the program. You know, since it is still in development, there's a large community of people who are coming up with really interesting and amazing adjustments to the core game, and they enrich and alter the experience in a lot of different ways. I've decided that the way that I like playing the game is as close to the intended progression that Squad, the developers, are putting out there. This has nothing against people who are making the mods or enjoying the mods or anything. It's just my personal play style. I was thinking about what kind of explains the mods that I use, and what I've realized is I like the mods that add information, because I feel like if you were flying a spaceship, what you would have is access to more data than is necessarily in the core game at the moment. So one of the things that I use is the enhanced nav ball. Now, all of your different markers, like those markers that we saw on the maneuver node, show up and indicate what those directions are on the nav ball. Well, if I move around a little bit, you can see this is sort of a faded version of the signal, and now as I get closer, now we can see it fills in our retrograde marker. So as we move around, like let's say this is the direction that the ship was pointing. Without the enhanced nav ball, I would not see this, I would not see this. I would technically have no idea which direction these things were, and I'd simply have to guess. I'm one of those people who will feel like I consistently guess wrong when given 2 choices, so this is something that saves a lot of aggravation. I also use the docking port alignment indicator. For some people, docking is just easy as pie, and I am not one of those people, and so the docking port alignment indicator makes that much easier. I also I've just started using Kerbal Engineer to get a little bit more information about the ships as you make them, and orbital information as you're flying around. And then I also do have MechJeb. For something like MechJeb, just in the spirit of full disclosure, if I'm using MechJeb to assist in a maneuver, I'll tell you guys, I don't intend to, but it may come up. If it does, I'll let you know. There are a bunch of other popular mods that I'm not using, things that involve adding additional parts, like B9 Aerospace and K2 Rocketry. They look amazing and I love them, but I don't think, for me personally, that they add so much more to the game experience that I can't wait for. And then other things that change the mechanics of the game, like Deadly Reentry and Ferrum Aerospace, that adds more realistic aerodynamics to the game. These are things that I fully expect eventually to be in the full version of the game. Until they are, I'll take my time. Part of it is, and I think this is something that is enough for my reasoning. I don't like the idea that an optional modification that I added into the game could make my experience of the game worse by making the game less stable. So, yes, it's adding functionality, it's adding features, but it's also a mod on a game in development. So that's my choice, and I just wanted to let you guys know that that's where I am on it. So let's bring up our resources tab and see what we're doing. At the moment, we're doing fine. We've got plenty of fuel to get home. We do still have one of our mystery goo containment units. We're not using any electricity right now, which, you know, it's good because we don't have any way to replenish it. If I start moving the ship around using the reaction wheel in the command pod, you can see that that does use power, so I'm going to stop that, just in case. I don't think that it's going to be a big problem, but, you know, just in case. So now we got to figure out where we want to land. Wrong button. Let's go to map mode. This is actually fine. I think what I would like to do is come down in the Great Desert here. So what I'm going to do, I'm not even going to worry about leaving map mode. I'm going to point the ship at our retrograde marker. So this means that I'm pointing my engine in the direction that I'm traveling. I'm basically moving backwards, as it were. So that when I turn on my engine, I will start to slow down. I'm going to bring up the data for the periapsis and apoapsis so you can see these numbers drop. As I start to accelerate retrograde, just it plummets, you know? So it's already inside the planet, so already we're going down. Not to worry, it's what we wanted. As this tracks along the ground, I would like to end up in the desert, but remember, we're going to be going through the atmosphere on our way down, and that's going to slow us down even more. So I'm fine with coming in over here somewhere. So I'm already going to stop my burn, and I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not too concerned about it. This is fine. And so now we'll come back and observe the beauty of the orbiting planet below us, the slowly spinning home below us. Yeah, and so we're going to accelerate a little bit, but I mentioned in a previous video, we don't want to be using time acceleration when we go through a boundary condition. So I'm going to use time warp, but I'm going to stop it before I get to 70. Because as I enter the atmosphere, just in case, I don't want the physics engine of the game to try and figure out what's going on in an accelerated time frame. Ships blow up when that happens. It's not a guarantee, but that's when goofiness can accidentally come in. So Hudson is excited that he is coming home. We are going to accelerate a little bit more, and as we come back down into the slowly thickening atmosphere, we're going to start to see the thermal shock effect. Is that what it's called? And yes, I'm I'm still moving very fast, but we do not have, as I said, we do not have deadly re-entry turned on, installed, so we're okay. This is kind of funny that the drag on this part of the ship is so much higher that it spun me around like that. I don't want that, so I'm going to... Can I? Yeah, there we go. And I'm just going to go ahead and stage that, because I don't want to accidentally run into that, and I'm a little bit paranoid that it's behind me now. I have this fear that I'm going to deploy my chute, and as I slow down, this other piece of my ship is going to come smack into me. But let's test. Deploy the chute. We can see it over there. It's still... Now it's getting closer. But hopefully it will fall below us. Yeah, I think we're fine. Yeah, okay. We're good. It's startling once you get that idea of how big space is and how small these ships are, to be confronted with a situation that you might accidentally run into something. That seems possibly the most bizarre possibility, but it could happen. Many players have experienced it. While we are above the ground here, above the desert, we'll do... I can't do a crew report. Okay, you know what? That's fine. But now that our chute has inflated, we will accelerate time as we come gently to the ground. I really hope that this doesn't break, because if the goo containers break, I lose the science. Okay, good. Good. We're going to observe the mystery goo. And yay, a few more points. We are going to not do a crew report, but we're going to do an EVA. We'll take that. And I'm not going to be able to get back in, but we'll let go. And take a surface sample. Lots of sand and rocks here. You're thankful that you've been in a climate-controlled environment, because it sure looks hot out there. The sand is dry and loose, and it looks like it's going to take some effort to clean your gear afterwards. And you know, he's a good guy, Hudson. He's going to do it himself. He's going to clean everything up himself. Can I... Oh, I almost can. Let's see if I can get back in. I'm not going to spend a lot of time worrying about this, but if I can get back in, that would be kind of funny. One more try. Okay, I can't. So, we're going to recover that. And what we're recovering is Hudson by himself. So, from Hudson, we get a surface sample and an EVA report for a total of 14.6 science. So that's good, but we still left a ship out there. We're going to go to the tracking station. This is a good place to visit. We can see all of the things that we've got out there. And at the moment, we only have one. We have this ship out in the desert. And I'm going to go... I'm going to say I'm flying it, even though, of course, it's landed. But I'm going to take control of this vessel so that I can recover it. I think I actually could have recovered it from the tracking station, but that's fine. So we recover this, picking up all of that lovely goo data, and get an additional 44.5 points of science. Lovely! A quick run to research and development. And what do we want to do? We have an option of general rocketry, a new engine, cool. With vectoring, I feel very strongly about that. Using an engine to turn, excellent. The Sepatron, a teeny tiny little solid rocket booster, very useful. The Rockomax solid fuel booster, we know them from shuttle takeoffs, the nice big ones. We've got stability. At the moment, the nose cone is kind of meaningless, but the winglet and the radial decoupler are... I'm very excited about those too, so that's good. And under survivability, we have a very small liquid fuel engine. We have the landing struts, and we have a radial mounted parachute. These are going to be good when and if we... Well, obviously not if, because we're gonna, but when we want to do landers. So I don't know if we're quite there yet. So what I'm going to do instead, I said we're only going to do 2 in between each flight. I'm going to purchase general rocketry, which opens up a few more things, and I'm going to also select stability. Good. And that's going to be it for our science purchases, and I think that's a good place to wrap up this episode. Thanks again. Next time, we're going to... I think next time we want to try and do a flyby of... Let's see if we can do a flyby of the moon. That sounds pretty cool, right? All right. Until then, have fun. Game on.